Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. MLG Season 1 of the Call of Duty Advanced.
See the beautiful weather outside right there?
It's a little snowy, I'm not going to lie. It's a little cold, too.
Reminds me a lot like home.
You've never seen snow before, Matt.
It's a blatant lie. We
Don't
live
lie
in
to
New
the
York.
people.
I see snow
told
all
me
the
this
time.
morning in the car that you'd never ever seen snow, and you had a very happy face. You looked very excited to see snow. Anyway, we have a pretty cool thing to talk about. We've got a giveaway coming in from Micro Center. You can actually have your chance of winning a $50 Micro Center gift card. The instructions are on that little lower third below. You need to retweet and tweet at MLG and at Micro Center with hashtag MLG Pro League Champs. Then your prediction for the next game, hashtag Denal or hashtag Prof. And also MLG.tv/Call of Duty in that tweet as well.
So, help people out. I'm going to make a prediction. I think Denal takes this series. I think it's going to be 3-1. I think it's a pretty safe prediction.
Okay. I'm going to agree with that. I think Denal should pick it up as long as it doesn't go to that last map. As long as it doesn't go to that last map, Denal going to be okay because Denal's win percent on Detroit S&D is one of the lowest in the league, 33%. Profs isn't ridiculously higher, but they're definitely a better S&D team, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Denal holds a pretty nice advantage on that first hardpoint retreat map where you can take that AR player, move him around the map. He can pick up tons of long-range kills. We see Formal do a great job of that for Optic. Clay, same type of player. I think he's going to have a great hardpoint. Terrace S&D, that's an interesting one. I think it's going to be dominated by snipers. And Replays, I think, might be the best sniper in Call of Duty.
Well, we actually have a look at that Prophecy team. Got a team intro to just kind of talk through some of the newer viewers out there, a little bit about Prof. Ricky, what a fantastic player he's proven to be so far on AW, Matt. Really a solid player, and his adaptation as well from past titles to this one.
He's taken, a stand-up AR, kind of statue role and turned it into an SMG, and now legal. He is going to be one of the most important players in this series for Prof. They're going to need him to really pick it up in the slaying department, play that aggressive play style that we saw throughout all of Season 1 online.
He's impressed me a lot, though, overall as a player, for me, just watching it and really adapting. And of course, he is MLG Black Ops 125K was his first ever tournament. Interesting, did not know that.
Yeah, puts up pretty good numbers. 1.03 in Respawn, 1.03 in S&D. His S&D awareness is something you're going to have to look out for in this series. And then Bows, obviously coming over from Optic Nation, been playing much better since being on this Prophecy lineup. I'd like to see his stats, post-trade deadline or post, when he was acquired by Prof. I bet you they're better than that, but he's got a .87, 1.06 in S&D for Season 1. Yeah,
he's looked very, very good. After that move from Optic Nation, it just wasn't gelling. He just wasn't fitting in. Wasn't being really allowed to play that role he wanted to play. Yeah. Now, though, he's kind of, I don't know, I feel like he's enjoying playing the game, which is always key.
Yeah, there are some times where he kind of, leaves the objective alone. He'll start, just flanking and roaming, and that's kind of where he fits in this team. Him and Legal can, work together and get that done. But let's go through Denal's roster. Denal obviously making that big trade in the middle of the season. Replays, though, ended up staying on the team. .90 in Respawn, .98 in S&D, but he's kind of their in-game leader. Yeah, he is. And one of the more, I want to say, the better objective players in Advanced Warfare as well. You see his Respawn KD there at 0.90. Always seems to get the job done. Look out for him in Search and Destroy as well. I think it's going to be key. And, of course, Clayster. Again, a fantastic assault rifle player. His Respawn KD at 1.05, with the slaying numbers he drops 28.8 average kills per game. Clay brings so much to a team, just in better leadership, and I think, without the boost, you hear him getting loud the entire weekend. Definitely pipes up that rest of the team. JCap coming over from Envy as well. He's the player that you're going to kind of look out for Denal. They're going to need him to play well because you see the stats, 1.02 in Respawn, a 1.11 in S&D. His S&D game's gotten a lot better, but he needs to bring that same gameplay from online here to life.
That's changing his role as well. Definitely key in there. And then, of course, attached to the last player, 14 Nile. Been so happy to see him kind of go back to that old attach that we recognize from the end of the Ghost season. Really has looked very, very solid.
Yeah, Attach has been putting up some great numbers since the trade of Saints and Zuma. Definitely looking for him to have a pretty good weekend yesterday. He played extremely well in their match against Envy. Going to look for him to do the same thing against Prof today.
So you said 3-1.
Yeah.
3-1 overall?
Yeah, why not?
All right, so retreat hardpoint. Denal should comfortably take that one. Is that kind of the thought process there?
I think so. I think Clay really dominates the map with the AR. Wouldn't be surprised if we see an IMR. Maybe for that.
He's been using that a couple of times, but yesterday he was bringing it out. And
yesterday,
it out.
I was up in the Pro Lounge and he brought it out for I think the first hill, and then immediately
he was
put
like,
it away, and everyone was like,
solos.
"That's it. That's all we're gonna see from it." But wouldn't be surprised if we see it on this map. Leads the lobby with a 1.20 KD on this map. Definitely fits his playstyle the best.
Oh yeah, I feel retreat just as a general map. We've seen Goondrop run the IMR a couple times too.
it plays a little bit more like a Black Ops 2 style hardpoint map.
It does, it does.
I would say this one, you know, Solar plays that way as well. I think Biolab and Detroit are so fast-paced that it doesn't play that way. But you see right away, you know,
yeah, no surprise.
Clay rocking that IMR. Let's stay on board with him and see what he does with it.
Curious, nothing else being changed, just the sort of basic loadout. Going to be running 2 exo abilities though.
And
pops that over
something interesting about this Denial team is a lot of them don't run nades. A lot of them run double exo. We've been seeing that a lot, you know, in the Pro League.
Uh-oh.
A lot of them just running that double exo ability, no nades, pretty much just JCap going to run those double stuns.
Does Clay change his class out? Nope. He's going to stick with that IMR. We'll see if he can try and get a kill. There's his first. Second player is going to be on that hard point. Turns around. Beans up Ricky as well. The third. Yes, he's going to get it. That was legal. Nice place from Clay early on in this game.
You know, we saw a few players use the IMR yesterday, and it was working for them. I think, you know, if you're going to use a different gun, you know, obviously yesterday changing back and forth, you need to stick with it at least through one respawn. I mean, just running out to the middle of the map, dying, and then switching isn't enough to see out of the gun to say, okay, you know, it's not working for me. A
couple of guys from Aware were rocking that yesterday, and they were making it work. So I think it is a gun which really will suit Clay's playstyle. And again, I'm curious to see if players like Goonjar are going to really adapt that in respawn.
Right, a lot of the players who are strong with the M8 and Black Ops 2 definitely can adapt to it. I'm surprised, you know, we're going to see, I think it's going to be Bose running the AR for Prof. Maybe let Ricky run an AR and maybe him run an IMR. Maybe that'll help his game a little bit.
Right now, Denial getting the favorable spawns for this back turtle hardpoint, 29 to 15. Still plenty of time left on this hill though before it rotates. As replays now with the first gunfight is not going to be able to pick it up, and Legal, Bose, and Ricky have just flooded that hardpoint. Need to pick up these kills, so that's going to be crucial, and Bose does clean it up, and now it will be Prophecy with that.
And I was talking about Bose before when he was on Optic Nation. You know, sometimes when we spoke to Teep, he would say, you know, sometimes I end up having to do the objective because, you know, Bose just starts to flank and he starts picking up kills and changes his role kind of on the fly. And you're seeing that in this game. Bose starting out 7-4, Legal doing much more of the objective work with those 2 caps. You saw Legal push into this Turtle Hill right away. He was the first one in, that intro player. So you're going to see Bose probably take a little bit of a step-back Slayer role in this game.
Now doing a nice job there, picking up all this early time in the first couple of rotations. Now it's 62 to 17-point lead, and you know, talking about those rotations, it's the Now which have actually rotated a little bit early as well as picking up the scrap time from that last hill. Big kill in coming from Attach as he cleans up Legal, who was trying to break that Denial setup, and you can see Prophecy trying to push around the outside here, and it's going to have to be a good pinch, and it is a good pinch. Ambos and Legal now on the hop.
Well, you can rotate a little bit earlier when you know nobody's going to be challenging that Turtle Hill. I mean, Clay was standing there for maybe 10 seconds and nobody was coming. Just kind of tell the entire team to rotate. The only issue there is you don't have your AR on that rotation, so then you're going to lose this back spawn, which is exactly what Prof got at the start, but still broken pretty easily by Denial.
JCap on the hard point with that ASM-1, looking to see if he can pick up a couple of kills. Not going to be able to do so. Clayster still rocking that IMR at the back of the map, cleans up 1. Can he find anyone else challenging the hard point now with that IMR? Pretty tough to do at close range.
See, that's one thing that we see about, you know, Formal that Clay does a little bit more that I don't know how much it works in this game. We usually see when, you know, Formal's holding back that, you know, anchor position or locking down lanes with the bow, never decides to push into the hill no matter what the occasion, even if, you know, the opposing team has control of it. He just stays outside and slays around. We see Clay try and push into the hill sometimes. I think that's why he went away from the IMR yesterday on Solar when we were watching, because, you know, he's trying to get into the hill. Obviously, running at the hill with an IMR isn't going to work.
Yeah, it isn't going to work at all. And, you know, Formal very cautious, I think is probably the better way of really explaining it.
Or
doesn't mind, passive, doesn't mind giving up some time. He'll happily give away, you know, 10, 15 seconds of a hard point as long as he has his teammates then to try and push in and break the hills.
It's a very difficult decision to make, obviously, in the heat of a game. When, you're playing and you're starting to, you know, lose points and the other team's gaining, you know, momentum and just score. You always want to push in and try and make a play, but you have to be disciplined enough to not rush in there and make that play. And Attach actually playing very nice in this first game. You know, 15-11, 16-11 now, 6 caps to his name, starting to heat up. And this is the Attach we've been seeing, you know, since the trade deadline.
Yeah, he's been allowed to kind of go back to that role of just roaming around, picking up kills left, right, and center, and that's what he's doing right now. Currently on a 3 streak, as you said, Matt. 17-11, 18-11 as he picks up his 4th streak, and he's getting loud too. You know, people have to respect the fact no soundproof booth. Players that like that kind of hype factor, like Clayster, this is that environment they thrive in.
And you have to remember, you know, Attach didn't really play much in Black Ops 2.
Right.
You know, never really played hardpoint. At the beginning of this game, it was a little bit of an adjustment period for him. But I know me and you, when we would watch their games and talk, you could see, you know, right around this time, right around Champs time, Attach was going to be in that form that we saw at the end of Ghost, and he's definitely coming into that shape.
I'm playing with players like JCap and Clayster who have been around for so long, even, you know, include replays in there. Yeah, he's going to learn a lot as well, and that's key.
Absolutely. I mean, Replays was one of the smarter players in Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
Definitely a very smart player in his own right. But 144 to 48 in favor of Denial. They are just putting a hurt on Prof right now. They're really going to need to get a little bit more aggression out of the Prophecy guys, playing a little bit of a slow-paced game.
Replay's doing a great job of just picking up those kills on that hard point. Attach always first on there. You see that with his 8 captures of the hill, 23 and 12, continuing a streak of 5 now. And honestly, he's just having such a good game.
Second half of this, you're going to need Legal and Fears to really pick it up if Prof is going to have any chance of coming back. I mean, right now, Fears at 12 and 21, Legal 13 and 23. Going to need a lot more out of them, and because Fears is losing those battles with Clay, they're going to have to pull out another AR, and then they're losing that hill aggression. So you're kind of in a catch 20-20. Really, nothing can work for you in your favor.
170 to 50 points. Denial looking as if they could 100-point club Prophecy in this first hardpoint retreat. I don't want to say that would be a huge surprise, because I think, we look at this matchup like we said at the very beginning, Matt, and we're saying, Denial definitely the stronger of the two teams when it comes to respawn.
I think it would be a bit of a surprise if it was that big of a beating, but with the way Clay and Attach are playing right now, would not be shocked, because they are on fire, and you can hear them. They are being extremely loud over in their pod. Attach playing absolutely phenomenal. 30 and 14, double positive with 9 caps, just absolutely tearing it up.
Already 30th kill. That's his 31st. 30 seconds going to be up top. Attach is going to see it. Can he get a kill? No, he can't. He falls. But whilst all that's going on, Replays on the hill. 195 to 52. Finally, Embo's trying to get some time for Prophecy.
They're going to need a lot of time. They're going to need to take pretty much all of this hill and then all of the next hill to even have a reasonable chance to come back in this one. It's just not looking good for Prof.
3.5 minutes left.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say this one's essentially over. It would be a miracle, it really would, as Attach is just, again, getting very, very loud, getting those defense on the hill. Still 24 seconds left of this hard point, and they're already at 212 points. They're not going to be able to win it on this one, but definitely if they can rotate early.
And we've seen from Prof, they've adjusted to even 3 ARs. They still can't break the setup of Denial. So nothing really working for Prophecy in this game. When you go to that many ARs, leaving Legal by himself to really just push hills, nothing's going to work. And especially when Fears is having a pretty rough game, 17-27, you're going to need better games out of him.
Replays trying to break the next hard point. Has his first kill, looks for the second. That was Embo's. Third player is going to be on the hard point. It is Ricky. Replays just made that look so easy. Kind of just strolled onto the hard point, got 3 kills, now has it under his control.
Right, the players from Prof are getting into the hard point, two or three of them at a time, and it's almost like they're not communicating with each other. They're just looking in completely different ways. They've been killed by Replays in the same spot maybe 3 or 4 times, and nobody has really just tried to push him or focus on him at all.
Everyone from Denial playing very well. Spoke to Replays earlier on, actually, before the game. And he said he was very disappointed with the way that the team played last night, and they were not going to allow that to happen again today.
No, they didn't seem worried either. When we spoke to them, I spoke with Clay a little bit yesterday. You worried that you guys lost Envy, going in a loser bracket. He's like, no. He's like, we feel pretty good. We still feel confident as a team. They kind of felt like they gave that series against Envy away. And you can see right now, they are just dominating Prophecy. 239-71. This one's pretty much over, Ben.
Yep, Clay's going to be able to just pick up a couple of those kills. Players trying to rotate to the next hill. In fact, no, he's not. He falls. That was Embo's with the clutch kill. JCap falls on the hard point as well, but 242-76. A minute 43 left. All Denial have to do is just jump on that hill for 8 seconds, and they will go.
Let me ask you something. Who is your biggest player for Denial? The one that you would really focus on if they're going to have a very long run in this loser bracket? Who needs to do well? Who
needs to do well, as in better than they would normally do, or who needs to just play consistently?
Just play consistently.
See, for me, I kind of look at JCap a lot because he's playing that kind of support role. He needs to be doing well. I feel if he doesn't play well, that's too much for kind of slack, really, for Clay and Attach to pick up.
Right, I think it's JCap for me as well. It's kind of the answer I was seeing if you were going to give me. I think JCap, if he plays well, this team can go very far. When he plays up and down, especially when we go into S&D, it's where this team can get a little bit shaky because Replay is one of the better Slayer OBJ players, but he can't really change up on the fly like that. For him to have to pick up a lot of that slaying or have Attach and Clay pick up even more of a burden in the slaying department, I don't think that'll work out for them.
You see Attach already 42 kills. That one's over, and the Denial boys getting a little bit vocal.
Attach can't do much more than that.
I mean, right? That's the performance you want to see, and that's what you got to give Clay some recognition there. Using that Iron Bar, playing that kind of formal role that you point out so often, just slaying down those channels, allowing players like Attach to run into those hills, around the outside.
You can see replays with only 23 deaths. How many times do you see an OBJ player who doesn't
just lying on the hill,
that
right?
much, just kind of hanging out on the hill? We saw a little bit from Optic Gaming that yesterday. You know,
Yeah.
Nate just kind of sitting in the
Chilling
middle
on
on
the hill.
Solar. People picking up kills all around him. So same type of deal here with Denal.
Now 1-0 against Prophecy. But now, though, quick commercial break. When we return, we're going to be heading over to Terrace. So it's just straight from that to the series.